Everybody knows things are bad. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and nobody anywhere seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore.
I've been lit for days. I wish my life was on a different page. I got peers and they got shit for brains. If you calm, you must have missed the rage. Me and the homies in our hundreds, but who's counting? We all ditched our rage. I got a biddy with a booty, don't stop. That shit clap like a crowd, that 187 to cop. I know a guy with an IQ that's peaking the top. He got a felony on his sheet, he pushing the mob. There's a house of cards being built around me and you. No sign of the doors or windows, but they'll sell you the view. Most of these homebodies pay the rent, but ain't got a clue. It's the same old kidnapping, just the ransom is new. The world we living in is really stranger than fiction. My fucking strength and gave me pills to kick my Twitter addiction. Some of you folks fragile, scared to make a decision. Congratulations, your staleness is your prison.
I don't want you to protest, I don't want you to riot, I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being, god damn it! My life has value!
I'm in the danger zone, the feds listen when I'm on the phone. I ain't special, that's just how it's going. Yesterday I had to smoke a clone. Got high enough to tap my dome. Started slurring like I'm Post Malone. It ain't an office, it's a rush to the loot. Outside a voting center, sign said, who got the juice? We're being capable of such a noble pursuit. Then why ask the tree to stop making poisonous fruit? No system ever wanted us to win from the start. Imagine choking on the paint but still respecting the art. That's why these kids are willing to walk into the dark. And besides, a little danger can be good for your heart. You can peek behind the curtain, but it's on with the show. They think to shut this shit down, you gotta prove what you know. The only thing worse than clickbait from Donnie and Joe is the thought of either one of them fucking me slow.
And when the 12th largest company in the world controls the most awesome goddamn propaganda force in the whole godless world, who knows what shit will be peddled for truth on this network? Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. We're all you know. You're beginning to believe the illusions we're spinning here. You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You raise your children like the tube. You even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs.
I'll tell you what, that movie was incredible. That part of that audio comes from The Network, I think is what the name of it was. Really good movie. If you haven't seen it, it's one to watch. Good evening. Hang on. Sorry. I've been having issues all day. It started early in the morning, and man, it's just been constant drainage all day long. So, but nothing. I'm not concerned or anything. I don't believe I've got the Rona or anything like that. This is, I guess, weather changes and stuff like that, and just it's got me good today. So, like I say, I woke up like that, and it's just been an ongoing battle all day. So, I just hope for a better day tomorrow. So, but anyway, I'm telling you, things are already starting to escalate kind of quickly in some states. Illinois is going, I should say, Friday to a tier 3, which I believe is the highest level we've been, if I read that correctly. That's crazy. I saw something about Ohio. That's in the headlines too. We're going to see this quick. We're going to see it real quick. I have been seeing numerous reports of stores being just hit pretty hard, being wiped out again of common supplies. So I don't know what to tell folks. If you've been around and you weren't ready for this, I don't know what to tell you. You know, you could never be as ready as what you want to be. Don't misunderstand me. But you should have at least some kind of a cushion if you've been here for a little bit. If not, and if you're listening to this and you're kind of new to all of this and you don't have a bunch of supplies, do what you can to try to secure some. You know? I would target to begin with no less than 90 days worth. And that's everything you need. You know? Food, toiletries, you name it. And I know that looks like a big mountain if you're just starting out. Especially if you're starting out and you don't have a lot of money. But there are ways. There are ways you can do it somewhat inexpensively. I mean, it's not going to be free. But like Jen, when she goes shopping, she's now picking up a couple of different items. She's, you know, anytime she goes, she's going to pick up a couple of different items, extras of it, so that we can put it back. Two of the items, I'll tell you, oatmeal and pancake mix. Okay, inexpensive, filling. Okay, it's a good meal, or a good breakfast meal. And both of them only have to have water, but as long as you've got some sugar stored or whatever you like with your oatmeal. And, you know, you can pick up some generic syrup, several bottles of it. It's not like syrup's going to go bad in a month, you know. Pick up several bottles of syrup and put it back. And make sure, if you're new to this, for those that's been around, bear with me. But if you're new to this, make sure you got a way to cook. Make sure you got a way to cook. Don't rely on the idea that, like, right now you've got a stove. And make sure you've got an alternative method to cook. Make sure you've got water filtration. Right? I highly recommend going to Walmart. They've got the best deal right there at the store at Walmart. Pardon me. You go back to the camping section and you will look for a water filter called a Sawyer Squeeze. And the Squeeze model has a couple more options that you can do with it. That's better than what they call the Sawyer Mini, which you'll probably see that one there as well. If they're all out of the squeezes and all they have is a Sawyer Mini, grab the Sawyer Mini. You want a Sawyer over top of a Life Straw any day. So water filtration, very important. So having a way to cook, very important. Then you got to have stuff to be able to cook. So knock away at that mountain just the best way that you can. Plenty of videos from plenty of channels that you can look. Budget, prepper food, whatever. Just put it in the YouTube search bar and go crazy. Because I really do think, regardless, this is going to wind up being a nightmare. And when I say regardless, I mean whether it's from the virus or whether it's from the government. I think it's going to be a nightmare. I don't know. Maybe I'm painted with a particular picture because we're in Illinois. But I really do think that it's going to, I do think it's going to get bad everywhere. I don't think it's just going to be certain states. I think it's going to be everywhere, across the nation. And now Biden, you know, he's not like Trump. Trump was one that liked to have others do the stuff, you know? In other words, what I'm saying is he wanted the governors, which I respect that because that's the way it should be. Pardon me. Trump wanted the governors to be at the helm, so to speak, and rightfully so. I don't think Biden's going to roll like that. I think Biden's going to want the federal government to call the shots, all of them. So we have that as well. Again, it not necessarily just the virus, and even with the problems that the virus itself is going to propose, a lot of it isn't simply because it's such a deadly virus. It's because it's really not. It's not. But it's going to be everything surrounding the situation. Right now, our hospitalizations are at the highest point since COVID. Since it started, going all the way back. Right now, and folks, we're not even actually really into flu season. So we are just getting started. Remember, like I was saying this several months ago, hey, we're just getting started. And then summer hit, and it went away. Well, it's not summer anymore. And it's coming back. And there is not going to be a saving grace. Unless you do it yourself. You know? That's all you can do. All you can do, if you're concerned with this, is protect yourself. All you can do. You can't expect anybody else to do that for you. Plain and simple. Like I've said a million times, I think there's a lot of wisdom in the Constitution. And responsibility is something that needs to be delegated back to the people so that they can make their own decisions in their own lives. But with that, you have to properly educate them. You can't have two different groups of people lying and nobody trying to tell the truth can get a word in edgewise. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And that is going to be what leads to how nasty this gets. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. So, again, if you're somebody that's concerned, protect yourself. So, and when I say that, this is to those that are concerned, high risk or whatever, or just don't want to have to go through it. Then please understand, a cloth mask ain't going to do it. You're going to need more than that. You're going to need better than that. Nothing under an N95 is going to work. So, now, that being said, let me say this. If you don't have an N95 or better, and all you've got is a cloth mask, and you got to go to the store, I'm not telling you to say hell with it and leave your cloth mask at home because the Watchman said it wasn't sufficient. Put it on. just because it's not rated for that doesn't mean that it will have zero effectiveness. See, that's one thing that's been kind of frustrating with all the going back and forth on all this stuff, is because it's like everybody acts like there's a light switch, that there's either just 100% effectiveness or no effectiveness, one or the other. And that couldn't be further from the truth. There's a wide range depending on what you do, what type of mask or filters you use. A wide, huge range of effectiveness. So, again, if you don't have an N95 or can't get an N95 or whatever you can, and wear whatever you can is what I'm getting at. Try to wear the best thing that you can if you are concerned with getting this. I'm not speaking to those that aren't concerned with getting this. Do whatever. Just remember, we are free to make our own choices, but we are not free from the consequences of those choices. Just remember that. I think a lot of people are going to figure that out soon enough when the hospitals get really super overloaded. I'm kind of surprised that at least I haven't heard yet of any major words of like makeshift hospitals. Maybe it's a little quick on that, but I would think if we're already at a higher number of hospitalizations right now than we had ever been since the start of this. I mean, because they already had some built the last time. So I would say you could expect to see that here pretty soon. Them starting to build temporary hospitals. So, and I hate that I'm coming on, and it's like, I'm here every day now talking about COVID-19 again. I don't know what to tell folks. It's what we need to be concerned with. And I don't think a lot of people really understand how serious it is. And again, it's not that the disease or whatever you want to call it, the virus itself, it's not the virus itself is so deadly. That's not the problem. It's the overloading of resources. It's the interruption of supply chains. And it can make people very, very sick. Those very, very sick people are going to be out of work until they're better. Well, what if those very, very sick people are the ones that deliver goods from the distributor to the store? Or what if those very sick people are the people that take care of the sick people? This can turn into a nightmare real quick. And I believe it's going to. And it's largely going to be because I don't think people are taking it seriously. I mean, there are some that are. But there's a whole lot that's not. And by the time that they realize it, it's going to be too late. Because of the incubation period that we have seen this have, it's going to be ugly quick. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't know what we're looking at, and that's what I don't like. When I try to look out there, to look out in the distance, so to speak, and in a little bit of, I don't know what to say, time or whatever, to try to gauge what may be right around the corner. Right now, I see a whole lot of nothing. And what I mean by that is I can't figure it out for sure. I mean, I can tell you I see mandatory vaccines coming. I've long been saying you're going to see gun confiscation Don't be surprised if it doesn't happen at the same time. Man, and I really hope I'm wrong on that one. But one thing you have to understand is I've been paying attention to, like, KMOV, I think it was. If I'm mistaken, I apologize. But one of the local news stations had put up a post earlier about the vaccine and asking if people would take it. And I'm telling you, I scanned through all the comments that were there already, and there was a lot. I can't remember how many. But it was a pretty firm, resounding no for most people. There really wasn't a whole lot of yes. So, I'm telling you, are going to make this vaccine mandatory. Well, I do believe that is going to be a line in the sand for a lot of people. So if they want to be able to push forward with a mandatory vaccine, they're probably going to have to disarm the people. Or they're going to have to fight the people at the very least. So if they're going to have to fight the people, they're just going to disarm them at the same time. Makes sense? That's to me. I could see possibilities of things like that happening. But the part that is really kind of bleak is the supply line thing. Because that is what's going to kick off the nastiness. When stores are no longer getting food and whatnot replenished, there's going to be wars over what's left. To start. And then that's when the chaos begins. And it doesn't take long. I'm not trying to fearmonger or anything else, but I'm trying to be real. I mean, literally overnight, we could change from a country that we know of as now, I can't say normal, right? But to something that is completely unrecognizable. Literally, overnight. So just remember that. It's such a thin thread when it comes to our civilization or the way we do things here. Or habitat, maybe, is the better word. We, for the most part, we're not living in a very bright manner. And when I say we, I'm talking about as a whole, the way we've got our system set up and stuff like that. Because, you know, just if we completely lost the computer systems alone, let's say the internet just went bye-bye, right? Completely bye-bye. Just that one thing alone, even if we still had electricity, we would be screwed for a good while until we could get things sorted out. You know, it would definitely put a dent in the supply line for a good long while if all of a sudden the internet was gone. I'm just kind of giving you an example of one key thing in society that we take for granted that could really put a dent in the population of the country. So that's why I think it's important that people are prepared in general, not just because of COVID-19, not just because of whatever reason or thoughts you have. I'm most concerned with grid down, however that happens. And that could be a possibility out of all this as well. So all we can do is, like I said, take steps towards being prepared. If you're new to it, try not to become overwhelmed. The best thing I can tell you. Just one step at a time. Deep breaths, one step at a time. Plenty of information out there. So, and even when you don't, and I say this all the time, when you don't have the money to buy stuff to prep, you should at least be able to afford to pay attention. And there's a whole lot of video content out there. You can learn a whole lot of stuff. And I'm telling you, knowledge is going to help you along a lot more than most of the tactical stuff. So, trying to think if there's anything else notable. I know that there's rockets flying around Syria and stuff this evening. Been seeing that in the headlines. More election craziness in the news today. Surprise, surprise. Man. It's just nuts. It's just nuts. A lot of craziness around the world. There was quite a few headlines again today. The acceleration is still there, without a doubt. News is still accelerating. As far as getting more serious, it kind of almost seems at a bit of a plateau. But I don't personally think we're going to be there long. I don't think we're going to be there long at all before things start getting really real again. Not quite sure why that dinged like that. More stuff. IDF claimed struck Iranian Quds force and Syrian armed forces targets in Syria. Oh, that's coming out of Sputnik right now. So yeah, like I say, around the world. I know. Trump fired another dude today, I believe, and there was a official Pentagon announcement. I guess we're gonna be dropped down to, I think, 2,500 troops left in, I want to say, Afghanistan. But I want to say we've heard this story before. That number, too. It seems like I've heard that number before, that we would have 2,500 troops left. I'm pretty positive of it. So, I don't trust anything. That, they play so many games, it's unreal. So anyway, let's see. See if there's anything else that jogs my memory. I guess we could get into the headlines. Get through the normal stuff and then do that. Let's see. Making sure I didn't have any. I don't think I had any notes wrote down. Nope. I didn't. Sometimes I write notes down throughout the day on a post-it, and I just set it here on the table. But I write a fair amount of notes down on post-its, so there's more than one post-it on the table. Okay, let me run through the normal stuff, and we will go from there. Sip a tea here. Amazon affiliate. We went past the $10 for the month threshold, so that's awesome. You got to get past $10 or else it rolls over to the next month until you get at least 10. So we made it past the threshold, so that's awesome. Uh, well, we're an Amazon affiliate. I thank those that participate. For those that don't know, there's a link in the description of the videos, as well as at the watchmannews.com right there. That doesn't show up on the mobile menu if you're using like a phone or a tablet. So you'd have to get the link in the description of the videos. I was actually working on that today, trying to figure out how I could get it to show up. And at this point so far, I'm unsuccessful with it. But I am trying. I am trying to get it to show up. Or I might rearrange my menu system, which is probably what I'm going to wind up doing anyway. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, that's the way to get to our Amazon affiliate link. You just click that link and it just takes you to Amazon like going normally. But it does so with our special link. And when you make purchases, it gives us a little commission. It doesn't cost you anything more, and it gives us a little commission for the sales. So all those little bits add up at the end of the month, as you see. And, it's just a cool little program. So let's see. We got that. We also have a Teespring Store. The best way to see what we have there is go to the watchmannews.com. Scroll down on the home page. Right now we've got 4 different designs. I hope to add some at some point. Right now it's really not a priority with everything. But if you see something you like, it's more than just t-shirts. There's tote bags and coffee mugs and all kinds of stuff. So just click on an image. That'll take you to Teespring, where you see all the other products, and you can make your purchase there. Excuse me. Lastly, we have a PayPal donate link. That's in the description of the videos, as well as in our main menu right there. When you click that, it just takes you to our PayPal donate page. You don't have to have a PayPal account. You can do so as a guest with a debit or a credit card. But I always let people know it says Transforming Disabilities up top, but it also says Purpose the Watchman News donation. That way you know you're in the right place. Okay, those are done. Another sip. Take a quick peek at numbers here. So I'm showing 1,066 right now for fatal cases. Remember, it updates sometime in the afternoon, so that means tomorrow's number is probably not going to be that good. So let's take a look at the chart here, and we are starting to see it go back up. New cases. This is yesterday, not today. Today, I believe. No, that's hospitalizations, not new cases. Never mind. Scratch that. So anyway, 148,931 new cases yesterday. Fatal cases yesterday was 656. So we had a couple of days, 661 and 656. Had a couple of days where it's low. We're already twice that now. And that number is going to go up. So we had a couple of better days, but I think we're going to see that trend really jump quick. So, and I think everybody else is expecting it too. The doctors, the hospitals. I can tell that everybody's bracing. So when it comes to like the medical community, you can just tell they're getting ready for it. It's not going to be good. Not going to be good, Tater. I just don't think so. I'll tell you what. I would love for 2 months from now for people to tell me how much of an idiot I am because this just blew over. But I don't think it's going to go like that. I don't. I hope I'm wrong. Man, do I hope I'm wrong. Here we haven't been doing so bad. Let's see. 865 is where it's at today. Yesterday it was at 856 I have here. So, not doing so bad. That's 9. That's a lot better than 40 or, we'll see. I kind of suspect that, because even here locally, it's very reminiscent of what we're seeing nationally, to where you have, as I've been calling them, little microwaves, right? And so I kind of suspect that maybe tomorrow we'll have a bad day. So I hope not, but I do suspect it. Or I should say expect it. Let's see. Let me have a sip. We'll do some headlines, and we'll go from there. Yeah, it's crazy, and there's not even a whole lot of news out there beyond election stuff and COVID stuff. There's just really not. Those two things pretty much have everything tied up. Okay, starting with some headlines that I put out last night. Continued Senate intel briefings for Harris is good news for transition process, Biden says. U.S. House Squad member Ayanna Pressley tries to make student debt forgiveness about racial justice, but even Dems aren't buying it. So, and I apologize if I said the name wrong. California governor considers imposing curfew after surge in COVID-19 cases leads to tighter restrictions in 40 of 58 counties. So that's California. And again, that was yesterday. That's not today. Let's see. Nurse says some patients deny COVID-19 is real even as they die from it. That's kind of crazy. That's really crazy. That's really crazy. And it really kind of highlights kind of what I was trying to say earlier. And I think that's what's going to make this so bad. Hope I'm wrong. A Huawei to sell budget phone brand Honor to ensure its survival amid tremendous pressure on supply chain. A Georgia State Secretary claims Lindsey Graham prodded him to throw out mail-in ballots. Senator rubbishes ridiculous claim. A catastrophic Category 5 Hurricane Lota hits Nicaragua just 2 weeks after region was devastated by tropical storm. Oh yeah, we are too. I have been doing headlines from today. I'm sorry. South Korea imposes stricter social distancing rules in Seoul, says bigger COVID-19 crisis looms. German police arrest 3 over last year's mind-blowing royal diamond jewelry heist at Dresden Museum. I actually remember reading the headlines on that. OPEC Plus meeting concludes with support for crude cut extension. Deluded Scottish separatists should be focusing on the COVID-19 crisis, not another referendum, says the UK minister. Burning Quran, not a hate crime, Swedish prosecutor says after dropping probes into stunts that triggered rioting. Belarus asks Poland to extradite Warsaw-based founders of popular anti-government Telegram channel Nexta as protests continue. EasyJet's profit dives as coronavirus crisis hammers global travel. No end in sight for lockdown, even as France brings, I'll get it right, coronavirus under control, French minister warns. And I mean, I think we're going to really see it in all the countries. It's a thing. We just have to realize that. Weaponized courts, the $50 billion Yukos case may be the final straw for Russia, ending its cooperation with Western justice. Five-fold increase in number of children investigated for links to right-wing extremism in the UK, says a report. Now, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me, please, if I'm wrong, but I think their right wing is like the same as our left wing. If I'm mistaken, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure of that. So, Take that in consideration. Ebola-like virus, which causes massive bleeding, found to jump from human to human after Bolivia outbreak. Not good. Yeah, I know that I know some, I don't know if it's all the countries over there or if it's just some, but it's the opposite. When you say right, it's actually left. Let's see. Russian health watchdog says coronavirus mutations appearing in icy Siberia, raising fears for vaccine effectiveness. India hosts allied war games with Australia, Japan, and the U.S. in Arabian Sea amid heightened China tensions. Reduce contacts, Merkel says, citing uncontrolled spread of coronavirus in Berlin and other areas. And see, remember, these places were a little ahead before of us. And I suspect, because if I'm not mistaken, I think they're dealing like Berlin and stuff. I believe they're dealing with cooler weather than what much of the United States. Isn't it? Hang on. Now I have to look. You see how that works? 1 second. Oh, actually, I could have did it over here. Google. Let's see. Out of here. Over here. Yeah, I really suck at geography. Bad. So, we're looking for Berlin. Okay, there's Berlin right there. So, oh yeah. Yeah, I would say that's probably a little cooler than most of the United States. So, yeah. I would say you could expect to see whatever they're seeing now within 2 weeks here. So, fun. See, irate Dutch farmers clog roads in major tractor protest over government's climate change policy. Europe shouldn't create illusion that it can protect itself without German defense. Without the U.S., says the German defense chief. I'll get it out right, maybe, possibly. Let's see. Russia isn't a superpower because it doesn't project military power across the globe, says former U.S. President Obama. Man, So now Russia good? Just let me know, because I gotta update my notebook. Now, Russia good. Gotta get that right. Now, what about China? Obama, is that China good, bad? Let us know. I hate that. I do. I don't let anybody tell me who to hate. Tell me who to fear. I don't let anybody tell me who to love. Nope. Let's see. French police forcibly evict 2,000 illegal migrants from camp in Paris suburbs over COVID health threat. At least 13 killed in massive gas truck explosion in Mexico. UN Refugee Agency warns of full-scale humanitarian crisis in Ethiopia as conflict forces thousands to flee. And stuff like this is horrifying to me, too, the thoughts of stuff like this happening. Let's see. Undesirable and unacceptable. Putin spokesman condemns unprovoked brutality of Belarusian security forces against protesters. Emerging economies can play key role in global recovery from coronavirus pandemic, Brazil's Bolsonaro tells BRICS. BRICS nations working together to bring trade blocs' economies back to sustainable growth after COVID crisis, says Putin. Iran threatens U.S. with crushing response after claims Trump mold attack on its nuclear sites. Lifting of COVID-19 lockdown led to surge in Russian air pollution. Record number of extreme cases detected in September, says a study. If Listerine beats COVID-19, so does whiskey. Lockdown-weary Britons mock corona-killing mouthwash study. Protesters flee as Greek police fire tear gas on anniversary of 1973 student revolt. The Chinese President Xi recommends BRICS nations for joint development of COVID-19 vaccines to restore economies. Azerbaijan to demand compensation from Armenia after finding destroyed infrastructure in areas won during Nagorno-Karabakh War. Resilient post-COVID India can be a force multiplier for the global economy, says PM Modi. Putin uses BRICS summit to call for lifting of sanctions on poorer countries devastated by the coronavirus pandemic. American Medical Association declares this. Now, this is concerning, and I'm going to explain why. I'm glad I ran back across this because I wanted to make sure to say something on it. American Medical Association declares racism a public health threat, prompting both applause and mockery. Now, this is why you need to be concerned about that. Obamacare gives them extremely wide, sweeping control over things like mental health. If you can't figure it out from there, I don't know what to tell you. Not good. Man, this control thing and using the medical field as a form of it, and they've been doing it for some time now. Been getting insane. All the HIPAA stuff, all the, oh, that's to protect you. No, it's not. It might protect some parts, but that ain't why it's there. And it does a lot more harm than good. Johnson has always fully supported how do you say that word?
What?
Devolution? Is it simply devolution? Like to devolve. Devolution? Right there. I guess it would be devolution. Well, that's kind of what I thought. De-evolution.
I think so.
Yeah, so they got the wrong word there.
I don't know.
Or is that the right word? And that I don't know. Good question. Anyway, you're welcome for the English class that we still don't have straight. But opposes those trying in the Senate or in the separate. Hell with English. I'm done. No, let me try this from the beginning. I'm going to read it as they got it written. Johnson has always fully supported devolution, but opposes those trying to separate the UK. I still can't do it, says the PM spokesperson. Yeah, I know the English nerd died after it tried to strangle me to death. Russia to produce freeze-dried COVID-19 vaccine to solve challenge of keeping formula cold while being moved around vast country. The enemy of our enemy, scientists re-engineer bacteria to attack pathogens and leave healthy cells unharmed. Scotland to enter short and sharp lockdown in bid to curb COVID-19 before Christmas. Paris garbage collectors burn bins and block street in strike over working conditions. Jack Dorsey says Twitter censored more than 300,000 election-related tweets as misleading over the last 2 weeks. Real quick, backing up. Somebody on our Facebook page shared a link, and at the time I believe it was live video, of what appeared to be another protest, a separate protest, that was in Paris. So apparently there were multiple different protests today in Paris. Let's see. Pentagon fails another audit, but comptroller insists they'll pass soon, like in 2027. That ain't kicking the can down the road. Russian parliament approves plan making Putin and Medvedev senators for life. You get that? As possible 2024 Kremlin departure date approaches. Russian lawmakers mull new political protest rules, foreign funding to be banned, and activists blocked from posing as journalists. 41 injured in Bangkok protest as Thai police deploy water cannons and tear gas. Pentagon announces partial withdrawal from Afghanistan, 2,500 troops to remain. And I'm telling you, it's where I've seen that number before. Palestinian Authority to restore cooperation with Israel after President Abbas cut ties 6 months ago. NATO's Stoltenberg claims U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan will turn it into a terrorist hotbed, warns of attacks on our homelands. Military-industrial complex, man. Got to keep them funded. New Orleans bans parades for 2021 Mardi Gras, but insists that annual event is only going to be different, not canceled. So I don't know how they're planning to do that, but we shall see. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker announces statewide COVID-19 restrictions on retailers, and like I say, they went to Tier 3, I believe is what it's called. Biden should pardon Trump to avert civil unrest in the U.S., Democrat lawyer says. Doesn't he have to be charged with something first? Just saying. Gotta be charged with something first to be pardoned. Let's see. Ohio imposes curfew and Illinois moves to highest COVID-19 mitigation tier amid increase in new cases. That's where I was telling you about being the highest tier. So here in Illinois. Highly inaccurate. Trump fires cybersecurity chief after his agency calls election most secure in history. It would be much better if this was like the Saturday comics, right? Than the news. Jeremy Corbyn reinstated his Labour Party in Labour Party after uproar over non-apology on anti-Semitism. We have agreed to maintain status quo. Putin says balance of power in disputed Karabakh must be upheld. Syria air defenses repel Israeli aggression over Damascus, says state media. And there are no more headlines up there. Oh. I reckon I could kick back for a moment. One of the reasons why I've been kind of sticking a lot with COVID, not only because it's a big thing in the news, it's something we better look at, but that is our biggest threat, as far as local threat. There's not a whole lot that we can do with what's going on in other countries or anything like that. We're pretty much stuck to what we can do in our local area. And that's what I'm saying. We have to focus on what's most likely going to cause an effect on us. And I think for each and every one of us, it's going to be COVID-19. So I think it's important to keep up on it. I also think it's important to keep driving it home that this whole attitude that it's not real, for one, it's not healthy. If at this point you still think it's fake, that's not healthy. Just saying. But on the other side of the spectrum, don't go running around your house screaming. It's not, use your head. Use your head. One day at a time. Like I say, I hope I'm wrong on all of this. I would love to be called wrong on all of this. But I knew damn well what I watched happen in Italy, and China, and Iran. So, and then on top of that, I don't think they, those, them has very good plans for us. So it kind of puts us in a tough spot. And the only thing that we can do in reality is be prepared the best we can ourselves. Like I said, I really think this is going to be insane. And if you kind of pay attention to the other channels, of course, you've always got the fearmonger channels and stuff like that. I'm not talking about the fearmonger channels. I'm talking about the channels that don't fearmonger. I'm talking about the ones that you normally see level-headed, and a lot of them showing concern. Maybe not necessarily with, like, say, COVID itself, but with, say, what the government may do, or they're concerned. I have a lot of concerned people right now for a lot of reasons. That's not good either. That's not good either. It's definitely not a good state to be in the nation. And then with the division over politics and all of that, it's just not a good combination. Not a good combination. I'm looking at the dark side, and there's a light side. Maybe this will shock people to the core enough that they'll remember what compassion is. Maybe they'll remember what priorities are, and remember that it's more important to be a part of productiveness than what it is to be a part of destructiveness. Because we see a large amount of that in our society. Large part of our society spends most of their time doing destructive things. Just the way our society is. There can be good from this. This could turn around to an incredibly good thing. Or may not. And that's kind of one of the earlier on, at the very, very beginning of the show, when I was telling you, when I'm kind of trying to look out and gauge what could be coming. That's kind of one of the areas of darkness I can't see. I can't tell whether or not people are going to snap out of their whatever it is that they're in. But if they don't, we're screwed as a nation. If people do pull their heads out of their asses and realize that what's really important is for, well, some people, family. You know, my family's right here. Jen and Blue. You know, and that's where my focus is going to be. Jen and Blue. I would highly recommend folks get ready to be able to take care of loved ones. Like I said, I don't know what's going to happen. Even if it's the supply line, you know, if we don't lose the power grid or anything like that, even if it's just supply line interruption, which is pretty much a guaranteed thing going to happen. Already starting to see issues with limits and products being out of stock, and it's because the people are rushing it. You know, people are panic buying. But you saw what the panic buying did last time, and you saw how long it took for stock to get back in last time. We're just getting started this time. So, toilet paper, if you're concerned about that and you can't find any, look online. Anything that you need. You shouldn't be in a position to where you need toilet paper tomorrow. Especially with what we went through in the spring. You shouldn't be in a position where you need toilet paper tomorrow. In other words, what I'm saying is you should have enough time to where you could order it. So, and there are fairly good deals out there. You just got to look. Trying to think. I wished I could come up with I hate to say the word list, but with things that most people may overlook. But there are so many things. There really are. Just make sure you got your bases covered. You know? Make sure you can provide all those things needed for survival, because we don't know where this is going to go. It could eventually lead to a grid down. You know, here's the thing. Here's the thing. All right? And I apologize because I am so bad about not really explaining well what is in my head. I see it in there, but my communication skills suck. And getting it out is a little bit harder. So my mind is already like 1,000 levels beyond whatever my words are coming out of my mouth. And a lot of times I just don't think to say important key things like this. You're going to start seeing all these states going into lockdown, and you're going to have a whole lot of people in all these states saying, oh, hell no. How's that going to turn out? So that adds another layer of issue. That adds other problems that could cause interruptions in supply line or power grid or any number of things, emergency services, you name it. That's why I think it's important to take this seriously. It's not just the virus COVID-19. There's a whole slew of things that surround that has nothing to do with getting infected. Personally getting infected. If there turns into mass chaos and it's the wild, wild west, there's a whole lot of people that's going to die from a lot of stuff other than COVID. But things went crazy because of why? See what I'm saying? We got to be mindful of this stuff. And I do think it's going to get nasty. There's just so much craziness. There's so much uncertainty, right? You've still got some on the right that are, I don't know how to word it, hell-bent they're going to see Trump president, I guess. Then you got others on the right that I've been noticing that are just kind of backsliding. I don't know if there's any more factions on the right or not right now. I don't focus on that. I pay just enough attention to it to kind of get a feel for their mood, so to speak. And that's it. Because it's, in my opinion, a lot of nonsense. We'll see. Well, we've been seeing, anti-lockdown protests across the world for some time now. So I would expect to probably start seeing them popping up here probably within 2 to 4 weeks. You can expect to start seeing that. So lockdowns are just now starting to go into effect. So yeah, 2 to 4 weeks, there'll definitely be protest. Probably there's a good chance even before. So we'll just see. It's all we can do. All we can do. I'm just kind of trying to sit here and go through as many different things as I can with you, just to kind of help you understand what I expect to see. Maybe that'll kind of give you ideas as to maybe different things you may need to prepare for, different things you need to do, or ways you need to do something differently. So, but anyway, that's pretty much all I got. I don't have anything more. Can't think of anything else. Like I say, that the different topics in news are kind of slim. And I don't want to sit there and drive anything into the ground, and I already feel like that's what I'm doing. So no need for me to just sit here on air and just continue to do it. No point in that. So with that, I'm going to get out of here and enjoy the rest of the evening. And I hope everybody else has a good evening. Pray for the country, pray for the world, and do the best you can. So I appreciate everybody coming. God willing, we'll see you back tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you, and be one with your spirit.